Hello, hello. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Ah! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So where do I begin? Thank you. Thank you for listening in. I'm Sophia Cook, and this is Sophia Cook's podcast. I'm literally, why do we all say that? I'm living my dream. And I was once told by an ex, they were like, oh, do you know what? You're not like conventionally pretty. But I really think you've got like a voice for radio. I think you'd be great on radio. And and you know, I was like, you're taking the piss. Are you are you actually taking the piss? But if I'm honest, I think I think I've got a good voice, and I've also got a face for podcasting as well, guys. So I have taken a leap of faith. I have not really listened to that idiot that spoke to me many, many moons ago, and I have decided to record a podcast. And there'd been various different names of what I wanted to call it, and what I wanted it to be about. But I think my name is enough. So let me just tell you about what my plans are for this. I really want to reach out and build my little community, extend my community. It all started at me being online. I have a very small platform on Instagram, and I love a good chat. I like talking to people, and I just feel that I have had so many different life experiences, met different people from different walks of life and different ages, and we've all turned things on our heads, right? We're all living our lives, especially after the pandemic, right? So, and time is luck. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I want to do something, but I'm putting it off because I don't have enough information, I'm not qualified enough. You think I've done this before? I've not done this before. I don't know what I'm doing. I just booked a studio, I booked the mic, and here I am. So let's start by introducing myself. Sophia Cook. I am 43 years old, and I have decided at this time in my life that I'm now going to do all the things I was told that I couldn't do or wouldn't be very good at. But let's just take it back. I am, for those that don't know me online, I have 2 very small children, some toddlers. I'm married to the brilliant Cookie, and I have a dog. My life in the last 5 years has been a bit of a roller coaster. I'm not going to lie. We did a renovation. We had 2 brilliant children. We've just spent half of our relationship in a pandemic, and I'm now feeling as though the fog has lifted. It's lifted. I've now discovered that actually the 2.5 years I spent in lockdown, that I need to start building myself up again. I need to start enjoying my life, because do you know what? We don't know when our time's going to be up. And this was always something that I wanted to do. So I'll begin. So, as a mum of 2, I've always worked, right? I've always worked, and I've never not had a job to go to from the age of 16. I grew up in what do they call it? The like county, like outside London, and I decided to move to London because I was always fascinated with the bright lights. I was a big clubber. I clubbed Camden Palace. Oi, oi, for my ravers out there. Bagley, Scala, and I ended up working for a radio station doing a lot of their club nights. So I was in the thick of it. It was great. I was young, and very unfortunately and very sadly, I lost my mum. So my mum was the reason why I permanently moved to London. And I ended up doing jobs that I ended up taking on jobs to pay the bills. Right, I'd consider myself to be quite a creative person, but I took a step back because, you know, being in theatre or trying to be a theatre design was not going to pay for my little room in Clapham. Incidentally, the flat was owned by my friend's mum, and I had this little box room on the outside, and and I ended up working in Marks and Spencer's, like rotating rotating chickens of a Saturday, having spent the evening before working in a club and just feeling a little bit wasted, a little bit mangled going to work. It was a really exciting, very tough time, but I ended up then getting a job looking at spreadsheets, because how else are you supposed to survive in London if you don't have the support, the financial support, or the belief from family, parents? Then you're on your own. You have to do the jobs to survive, and that's exactly what I had to do. So I have been on a very, very, very long journey of jobs where I've been subjected to sexism, racism, and it's just kind of left me a bit deflated. So at my big age of 43 years old now, I'm now discovering all the things I was told that I couldn't do, and it just really, I really want to discuss, and hopefully, like, if there's episode 2 and 3 and 4 or whatever, I really want to invite guests on that are just living out their lives as they intended. It's really difficult, depending on your own mindset. It's really difficult if you absorb other people's negativity, if you absorb other people's inadequacies. Is that the right word? Is that even, that's, the word I'm talking about, right? I can't pronounce it. And that's another thing, I'm just letting you know, I don't always pronounce my words correctly, but this is life. Yeah, when you absorb people, their negativity, it can really start to push you down, and you can really start believing it. But I often find that those that say that you can't do something are the ones that are not living the full extent of their life. Don't listen to them. Back them away, and be very conscious about the circles you're keeping, right? That's really, really important. Anyway, so I've then moved to London and taken on all these jobs that I just knew that it wasn't my destiny. But if I wanted to stay in London and I needed to stand on my own 2 feet, then this is what I had to do. And it's only now, for the first time, with the support of my husband, that I'm not necessarily worrying about bills. He's out there working, and even though we're at our limit, I've been working online. I've been doing ads online, so and parenting. And so that covers our children's nursery, because we all know that nursery fees out here are ridiculous. No one really talks about that. We all talk about the mortgage, and we all talk about like clothing kids and feeding kids. But the childcare has me out there on Instagram, jumping up and down, wearing a product that I love, and, getting paid to do it, because that covers our children's nursery fees. That's how high they are, right? Anyway, so being online has allowed me to not reinvent myself, but start living the life that I know that I want for myself. And so as I was saying, that I really want to reach out to people and start having these conversations. And I think initially I was actually going to call this podcast Sooner or Later, because I was always told when I was growing up that you almost had to imagine a timeline, right? So you do your A-levels, you do your GCSEs, you do your A-levels, you go to university, you go to college, you save up some money, you get a mortgage, you find the guy, you find the girl, you get together, you get the house, ta-da! And like this is how it happens. And it doesn't happen like that. And we need to start breaking down, even though things are gradually changing, because the access that we all have online, the internet has opened up our minds, and we're all starting to be a bit more, we're all starting to critically think things, some more than others. But we're now discovering that you don't need to, we were told, you basically need to start having kids by the time like I don't know, 30. You should be like having kids. I had my kids at 40. I was married previously to somebody, a nice person, but I knew ultimately that it wasn't going to work out. So I fell off that timeline. I moved to London and got the job that paid the bills. And so for anybody that's out there thinking, I want to dedicate myself to my job and I don't necessarily want to start a family. You need to start a family when you're ready, right? You need to start when you're ready. You need to find that partner when you're ready. You need to experiment in your 20s. Experiment what you might want to do. Experiment when in your 30s. Don't stop thinking that you get to a certain age and you have to have it all. You do not. And I'm telling you, I have never in the last 2-3 years, despite the pandemic, I've actually started to realize that, hopefully, God willing, I go on to live for a very, very, very long time. Hopefully I can evolve even more. I can do more things. I can try different things. And that's the beauty of it. I know somebody that's 28 years old and she has her own business, her own successful business. I know somebody at 50 that's just kind of turned her back on what was deemed the conventional way for her to get her career. And she's turned her back on it to do something that she loves at 50. You hear of all these different actors and Morgan Freeman and I think he was discovered after the Shawshank Redemption, or that's when things blew up. We all know in this world that we live in, even though viral to me means something completely different, it's all about waves, right? So you could be doing nothing and then doing something really major. We all have the access to doing something that we want to do. And if at the moment it is I don't like saying side hustle, right? And hustle, because I don't like that hustle mentality that you've got to keep doing things. But if you're in a position where you don't have the luxury, the privilege of somebody else supporting you in such a way, keep doing small things. Keep that fire burning in what you want to do. For me, I love movement. I love dance. Do you think I know how to dance? Absolutely not. But I love the freedom it gives me. Do you think I've ever done a podcast before? No. I've been a guest twice, I think. I don't know if they published them. But yeah, I wanted to be behind the mic because I've got a lot to say and I want to share the experiences with different people. So yeah, a little bit more about me. So online, I show my family life. I live in a very, very colourful house. It's all very deliberate because, I lived a life of what I would say, kind of dark in places. Losing my parents has really shaped me, and I've lost loved ones, very, very close ones along the way. And I just feel that with that in my mind, it propels me to want to live my life to the fullest. And I want to try and encourage others, you guys listening, anybody listening in, and with the help of guests that come on, that it's never too late. It's never too late. And, I got told the other day by a brand that we're really trying to concentrate a lot on Gen Z at the moment. It's really it's not like we don't like what you're doing online, but Gen Z is very, it's very now, it's very current. I'm I was born 79, so what am I, generational X? And before that was the baby boomers? I don't know, don't quote me on it. But we're all hopefully going to have privilege of growing older. So whether you are 25, 35, you've got to hopefully look forward to being in my 43-year-old shoes, because getting old is a privilege, guys. It really, really is. There's the representation for growing older. I don't see it as much. I exist online in spheres where, I see other creators getting the gig, and when brands tell me exactly that, we're looking to push it onto generational Z. I know that's not you, but we've got a great gig for you. And it's elderly. Now, 43 is not old, right? And I think the person that I was having the conversation with was a lot younger. And I said, do you honestly feel that I fall under elderly? It's only a word. 43 is not old. And let me tell you, when I get to 60, when I get to 70, cool. I will take that. I will take senior citizen and stamp it on my chest, because I know that many people around me wouldn't have made it to that stage. Like both my parents, I lost their lives at 60, which was really, really hard going. And being 22 and 29, losing parents is, I expected them to tell me their wisdoms, because at the age of 22, I wasn't really having these conversations about their lives and how they're growing up, because I thought they were going to be around, and they weren't. And they weren't. And I always remember looking up at my sister, who's 9 years older than me, and thinking like, oh my God, like you're so old. Like 43 is not old, guys. Not old at all. And I'll go back to society. Society, culturally, social media, wherever you're looking, like we can't avoid it, will tell you that you need to be a certain thing at a certain time of your life. Let me tell you a story, right? And this could really have grounded me. This could have really kicked me in the face, but I talk myself down from it. So I was minding my business. This has happened to me on a regular basis. Minding my own business on a bus. I was heavily pregnant with my son. Heavily pregnant with my daughter. Sorry, my son was in the pram. I'm on the bus. A little lady comes up to me and she says, "Oh, hello." I said, "Hi." She goes, "Oh my goodness, isn't your grandson? And here, look her." So I'm pregnant, and with my son, you can see, like, I've got, woo, and I'm with my son, and she's like, "Ain't your grandson a looker?" I said, "Excuse me? My grandson?" I said, "That's my son." I remember coming home to Cookie, my husband, and saying, "Oh my God, I'm going to be that older mum. And he's like, just ignore it. But there's obviously, I don't know whether universe, God, somebody's trying to test me every day, because this is a regular occurrence for me. I was out with my friend, minding my business, again, pushing my daughter. The shop assistant comes over. "Are you looking for anything particular for you and your granddaughter?" Like, I started to get a bit of a complex. Do I look older? Last week, the postman, I opened the door, my kids are jumping at the door. Postman, mummy. Like, mummy. Postman, mummy. That's what my kids are saying. Postman bent down and goes, "Aren't your grandkids really lovely?" Like, the world, people are trying to pin their negativity. And there's nothing wrong. Like, look, guys, like, my friend is like 43 and she's a grandmum. I want to be a grandma, right? I want to be a grandma. But my children are 2 and 3. I'm 43. And hopefully, like, if they want to have kids at 25 or whatever, I'm still around to see it. So when I get that badge of being grandmum, better know I'm going to pin it on my chest and I'm going to wear it with pride. But because I had difficulties in getting pregnant in the first place, because of what happened, the pandemic, and our lives being turned upside down, let me enjoy that status of motherhood, guys. Let me enjoy it. And, I don't have that. I haven't had that budding career I've done various different things in life, right? I have been a club host. I've managed buildings. I've worked in a satellite factory. I have been a cleaner. I have been an assistant to a designer. I've done various different things in life. And I think it's all prepared me for what I'm doing now. And I don't necessarily know what I'm doing now, but I'm trying all the things I was told from the age of 6, from my 20s, all the things I said that I couldn't be done, I'm doing it now. And I want to reach out to anybody right now that's feeling that they want to try something new, but there's a fear of failing. Let me tell you, failing is part of growth. You can't, anything you walk into that you're good at, you need to be on your toes, right? You need to have that fear in your belly. Do you think I've looked into 2 cameras and shove a mic under my mouth and thinking, is anybody going to listen to this? But if the one person listens to me talking right now, then that's one enough. That's enough, because I've got to a point now where, maybe I take up singing lessons. I've always wanted to sing. When I was a kid at school, a predominantly white school, a little black kid comes up to do the auditions, to sing, start singing. Oh, no, Sophia, no, you're a bit too loud. Bearing in mind it was a musical. You're a bit too loud, Sophia. We're going to go for someone a little bit more quiet. Now, you read through those lines, right? You know, like little black Soph. And I even have the program. I have lived with those comments all throughout my adult life. I have the program that I was asked to design because I was actually the program designer, and I was also wardrobe assistant, and I was also backstage. That was at the age of maybe, I think, about 10 years old. I then went on to do theatre design, where I was backstage. Even though I was qualified as a designer and I'd given my ideas to the head designer, I was still ironing cod pieces and still stitching and not being brought on as a designer because I just wasn't good enough, albeit some of my ideas were still being seen. And I actually wanted to be on stage. I actually wanted to do it, but these comments as a child stayed with me. I then went into boardrooms when I was building managers and a building manager in a city and city in the West End. And I was told that my ideas weren't good enough, only to then discover that these ideas were being implemented in the buildings that I managed. Like, you know, it was the core of how I used to think were the impressions of others, were definitely the impression of others. And I gave up on myself. And I started listening to the negativity of others around me. And that has brought me to this day where I decided that I was going to try and reach out, try and end up in the ears of people that are wanting to do new things in later life, try and congratulate those and celebrate those in later life, in their 30s, in their 20s and 30s, at any age, to congratulate you and to know that what you're doing in your success needs to be spoken about. And people need to hear your stories, because you could be thinking, my life is over at 25 when I've just lost that job. I've just lost that boyfriend. It isn't. It's all, easy on the mic. It's all trial and error. I remember having a breakup at about 25 and thinking that I was never going to meet somebody. I didn't meet my husband, my second husband. I didn't meet my second husband, Cookie, until I was, oh God, do the maths. What was I? 39, 38, 39. And yeah, he's kind of stuck with me. He's kind of stuck with me. I'm glad that I waited that length of time, and I knew that when I was with him, I wanted to make babies with him. And I think if I'd had children with my ex, as much, you know, and I'm sure he'd agree if he was listening, that it would have been a mistake. It would have been a mistake because, you know, there is these external pressures, the job, the career, knowing what you want to do, the partner. You don't have to do that, guys. And if you are one of those people that found the love of your life early on, then brilliant. For me, my sister met her partner, her husband, quite early on in life. And then, you know, I had my heart broken 50,000 times in the duration that she's been with her husband. But, you know, people do things at different times. So I guess sooner or later is a great theme for my podcast, because I want to demonstrate that you have success earlier, you have success later. There is no right and wrong. It's your path. It's your life. And I really, really want to listen. I really want to listen and also showcase those at different stages of life. So if you are somebody out there that wants to join me and talk about your life tapestry and where you are at the moment and what has propelled you to do the things that you want to do at your age, and, you know, like, I want to hear people that have had children super early, and I want to hear from people that had children later. I want to know whether you've decided that you know what you want to do at a certain age. Like, just send me a DM, send me emails, and let's talk. Let's talk and congratulate one another, and break those molds that conveniently society are putting on us. Even in a world where we have so many, like, our resources are wide open. You want to see a chef? You want to talk about going traveling? Like, it's all there. But fundamentally, institutionally, we're still taught how to live our lives. The best way to live our life is live it by your own terms, right? Live it by your own terms. So that's what I want to do, guys. I want to hear from anybody out there that wants to talk about how they flipped the switch, how they're living their life, how finding the love of their life at 75 years old was the best thing they ever did. Even though they had their heart broken, they're now living the life of joy. I want to hear from people that knew from the age of 18, they wanted to be an entrepreneur and they're thriving, and how they did it. So contact me. You can DM me at Sophia R. Cook on Instagram, or Sophia R. Cook. Oh God, have I forgotten my email address? Look, that's what happens, guys. When you're on the spot, that's what happens. So Sophia R. Cook, DM me on Instagram. I'll add it somewhere and we can get talking. I've waffled a little bit. I've taken a lot more of your time. But thank you, guys. And I'm hoping you're still listening in. I'm hoping that you have a great, great day, any day of the week it is. And I'm hoping you can join me for my next session. I think my next session is going to be talking about parenting in brief, what it's like to be a parent with 2 toddlers under 5, and how we cope during a pandemic. You guys have been brilliant. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and have a blessed day. I'm Sophia Cook, and this is Sophia Cook's podcast.